Righto, welcome back to the channel, folks. So on this episode we're going to do some plumbing on the car. So I got some fittings here, some 35mm copper fittings and some copper pipe I've had for donkey's years. Just kicking it out, don't really get to use 35mm copper anymore. That's going from a long time ago when I used to do commercial stuff. So I bought some couple of fittings. Annoyingly, it was actually cheaper to buy this off of eBay than it was from the plumber suppliers. Go figure. The plumber suppliers were a good few quid for that, but it's just it is what it is. So I got them, so happy days. So my plan is to run the return section of the pipework back to the bottom of the radiator down there, which will incorporate coming through the oil cooler. So let's hope it goes all right. See how we got. I did a very similar thing when I did the pop, and I run the ST170 in the pop. So I did all the hard work in that, so I know it works. So it's just a case of cracking on again, doing the same thing again. On this side of things, my plan is I've got a bit of silicone tube there, which I'm going to use to point us in the direction down there. Then come off there under the rad and pick up this extra bit of silicone. Don't worry about them being red, it's what I had spare from working on the Mazda as it happens. This one came with a kit for the Mazda and it was the wrong size, so they sent me another one and said I can keep that one. Or was it that one? One of them was, and the other one I didn't end up using anyway, so I got them spare, so I might as well use them. And that bit's red, so it kind of works. So the idea is to come across from that corner, elbow down, and then tee off at some point with a street end tee, which will come out then across here and pick up our outlet of the oil cooler there. And then the other side of that oil cooler, that one, needs to be connected to the outlet of the heater. So that's the idea. So from the back of the head, through the heater, down through the oil cooler, and back into the radiator down there. So initially I was hoping to be able to come straight off the back of my water pipe from the back of the engine into there, but it was rubbing down there. So what I've done, I've come off an elbow this way, so it's plenty of space there, so no rub in there, and just back round, bit of pipe work around there, and gives me somewhere where I can vent off in a high point, so that'll come in handy too. Get to use my new beading tool. I didn't realise I needed it. Super. Well, that's good news. The silicone hose will fit over it, because this is, strictly speaking, a 32mm hose. This is a 35mm pipe, but being silicone, it's nice and stretchy, so it's fitted over there nicely and is very unlikely to slip off. So that's good. Right, progress report. Got a bit of copper built up down there dry, and a bit coming off of there dry. So what I'm going to do now is just measure between that T-piece and my section coming down, and that'll give me the length I need for my elbow. And what any plumber will tell you is, especially if you're using an old pipe like this, which is very oxidized, you've got to take the time to clean it back to bright, shiny copper, otherwise your joint will fail. Right, that bit you just see me bending up. Don't know how well this is going to come out on camera, it's not the best angle. It's going to effectively come through here to pick up that little T-piece, and then I elbow it back. I can't pull another bend on it because there's not enough space. With the way the benders work, it would be too tall. So I'll put an elbow on there then with a little short piece on it, and then a little bit of flexi. We'll connect those up nicely. Right, a little trick I'm going to show you. Now we want this to obviously be straight there, but this has to have a little kick on it coming across. Hang on, let me get the, something like that, which I'll do on the car now. But if you want to keep that straight, because obviously you're going to put this back on the car to get that angle right, then take it back off again and we risk losing it. So a little trick I've learned over the years. Now, some of you will probably have something to say about this, but I've been a plumber for 30 years. I'm going to show you, I know what I'm talking about. If you get that back in there, trying to do this one-handed, get your grips and just give that, take that off center where you want it, give that a tiny little pinch, nothing too heavy. Just a little pinch like that, and when you put it back straight, it'll grip and hold tight. And the same for this bit here. And the reason why you move it away from where you want it, because if you just pinch it, it won't do anything. You've got to pinch it a little bit. Then as you move it, the pinch grabs hold of, and it'll stay where it's going to be. I'm going to learn how to solder a copper joint. I've got a video on that. It's about 3 years ago I did it, but it's on there. And although this is a much bigger joint, the principle is the same. Best to give this a few minutes to cool off, and then we'll get a damp rag on it and give it a good cleaning. Obviously before you use this on the car, because the flux I'm using, Gelaco flux, is acidic, especially as you warm it up. So it's good to give it all a good rinse out with very hot water to clean all that out, because you don't want that floating around inside the car. That's how I'll be using the same method to solder up the other joint as well, so I won't bother showing that. And there we are, all soldered up. And what you may notice as well, I've soldered a compression ring on the end of there. So when I put the hose on there, got somewhere to clamp onto. And the question is, does it fit? There we go. I think I'm going to change that to a 35mm elbow, so I think that's 35 as well. So I'll get a proper silicone elbow for that, because that's kinking a bit there. That's slightly less than an elbow as it happens, so that's probably why that's happening. But we're down there, along there, into the bottom of the rad, and picking up the oil cooler. So that's one piece of the puzzle done. There we go. Nice bit of long flexible pipe into there. That'll sort that out. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to do it like that. What I am going to do with this bit of flexi is just let it run down there and pop the carbs on to see. I can see already that's not going to work as it happens, because the carb needs to go. I might do. It's just, I chuck them on, see what happens. Right, well that will miss the carbs running underneath there, but I don't want to run a big long flexi like that. So I think what I'll do is make up a bit of copper that I'll run from that. Just run about 4 inches or so flexi to bring us down, and then run a bit of copper around to pick us up on the bottom there somewhere. Alright, so I'm thinking I bring a bit of copper first of all with a kick up into there. That'll give us that angle we want there to bring us down. We've got a I've got an exhaust stud somewhere which will fit in there, but I might even just leave that off and just put a bolt in there. Might be easier than messing around with studs. So let's get that piece in there first. And then we can come around here somewhere and come down to pick up our thing in there. So let's just bend up a piece and see what happens. Hopefully we'll do this in one now, or thereabouts. There we go. That'll take us along there somewhere, so we want to come across here. So bend that out. Don't have the room to work with. I should have done this with the engines out of the car, it would have been easier. Okay. So you want to come put that 1.25 inches there. 6 up there, so you come off about 7 inches and bend it down. I think this is kind of where you want to go. Kitty, pointing in the right direction. Right, one more bend. Should be. Make sure that's all nice and straight with it. There. Let's try that. Bend that bow that way. Should be pointing at the bottom of the oil filter. That guide has gone slack in my benders, it's wrinkled the pipes. Never mind. Boom, 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 boom. Right, let's see if that's fouling the carbs. Nope, lovely. And that's all mostly nicely out of sight as well, so lovely, we can work with that. That'll do the job. All I need to do is solder some compression fittings on the end, compression rings on the ends there to give us a bells, and that's that pipe done. Right, here, a bit of manhandling. I've got that to look a little bit neater. So that's all going into there. So that'll send us back. I need to hook that up just a little bit there to bring that straight, otherwise you're going to have an airlock there, but I saw that out presently. But we're pointing in the right directions anyway. So that's the plumbing sorted out for the water, because the top hose is much simpler. It's just using MX5 hose as it happens, going from there. This is an old hose, but it's actually in good condition, so I'm going to clean it up and use it. So that's the top hose sorted. Bottom hose, just need to order a better elbow there. And that brings us round then to back into the radiator. And that menagerie over there should sort out our heater and oil cooler. Happy days. Right, okay. I'm thinking I can make a little bracket from there to there if I measure the thickness of the carburetor flange and make a little copper bracket, so that'll then be nice and secure against the side of the engine, I think. And the other thing that some of you might be concerned about and might ask is about the dissimilar metals, because they will attack each other. But we've got all sorts of dissimilar metals already. We've got brass, steel, aluminium, and that's why you put coolant in your car, not just water. That's what the additives are for, to stop the dissimilar metals attacking each other. Okay, the thickness of that there is 8.69 or 8.7. So if I make up a set of washers now at 8.7 or thereabouts, we can then have a bracket which will come over this once this is in place. So a bit of a challenge to set it up, but it'd be worth doing it to stop it flapping about in the wind. Right, we've got a bolt and a washer, 8.28, that's close enough. We can work with that. Right, so that's spaced off the head there now. I can draw underneath there, put a 90 on that, and then make a little thing for it to curl around a bit of copper. And then solder it onto it. And what I mean by that is, there's my mark. Put a straight edge across there. That'll bring us basically the top of that. That's about 15mm, probably just a little bit less than, but it doesn't really matter. Pull that round. And if I hadn't pulled that down in the vise like that, hang on, let me tighten that back up again. Hold up. Right, let's try that again. So tightened up in the vise and pull that round. And now we can continue to pull that round with just a little cup on it, that way we can solder onto the pipe. Right, same again. If I do this left-handed, I'm not left-handed, we'll make a mark across there, and then we'll bend that up, and then that should just about cut the pipe nicely, and with a little bit of solder hold that all in place. Right, hopefully that'll stay in focus. So I've got a finger in the right place, so I've cut that. Now just wrap around the pipe with a little bit of flux in it, cleaned it up with a little bit of flux in it, so you can now solder that in position. Lovely, and that should work a treat. Hopefully it won't be too much of a nightmare when I'm coming to putting the carbs in place or getting my way with other stuff, but that's future day's problem. Right, okay, carbs back in place, that's all going to work fine. And I just had a horrible thought. I think I might have put all of that right in the way of my alternator. So we might have to play with that further. Obviously, we might be alright as it happens, because if I remember, the alternator fits around here somewhere. We'll be fine. Right, I have dragged the alternator out of where I was storing it and bolted it on, and we are fine. There's plenty of space down there, worrying about nothing, so that's all good. That's plenty of adjustability on that as well, so happy days, all good. So really speaking, until my elbow I've ordered for that comes, that's ready to go. So obviously I'm not going to go filling this up with water or coolant just yet until more things are sorted out, because I'll be probably putting this on and off a few times yet until I get everything in order. Need to do something about that, which is probably going to be either just cap it off or drill it out and tap it and put a little plug in there. I might even use it for a sensor yet, I don't know, but can't leave it open like that for obvious reasons. But we are getting there, one step closer to completion. There we are, brilliant, thanks for watching. So that's another step closer to the job being the car coming to completion. Lots of little steps, bit by bit, just tickle away at them. I'm in no rush. It'd be nice to get the car on the road as soon as possible. It'd be really nice to get it on the road for this summer, but I think that's been a bit optimistic, because time is difficult for me to find time to work on it. And there's just little bits here and there, like this water rail here. In the video, looks like it's all been done in just at half an hour or so, but it's actually a few evenings and a few weekends, a few evenings work. So it's just bits and bobs as I can get to it. But it's all coming together, so happy with that. I've got some ideas knocking around in my head about how to deal with the brake pipes underneath the bulkhead on the cabin side from the what do you call it, the pedal box. Previously, when I've used pedal boxes, I've rigid piped them, but I'm getting a bit older. It's not so easy to be crawling underneath dashboards and be messing around with brake pipes and flaring tools, what have you, all in one space. So I've got an idea floating around in my head how to do that with flexies without spending an absolute fortune. So watch your space, we'll come back to that one. But thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.